Hello, welcome to a new vlog. Welcome to the weekend. And it is just about the weekend. It is currently Friday afternoon. It's about 3 o'clock. I have wrapped up teaching work more or less for the week. I'm just keeping an eye on email, but I'm caught up on grading. I've posted all my announcements. I've gone through my email so far. So yeah, it's all more or less done. So I'm just kind of shifting over to book work. So yeah, I've got some proofreading to do for More Than Fate. I've got a few more chapters to edit for Independent Hearts. I've already done one today. I don't think I've crossed it off. No, so I'm up to chapter 18, to 17 off my little list. So I'm going to try to do at least 18, and I just have 18, 19, 20 and the epilogue left to do. So I might just do one more chapter today and then I can read the other 3 tomorrow. Or I might do 3 today total and have 20 and the epilogue tomorrow. Chapter 18 is 4,400 words. Chapter 19 is 3,300. Chapter 20 is 44, and the epilogue is 25. So yeah, I might just do one more. I might just do chapter 18 today. Probably do that now. Cross that off, and then I need to create my form for the beta readers. Although I feel like I should do that after I've read through everything. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud at this point. So I have editing to do in that. Then I need to write. My goal is about 1,044 words according to Scrivener, so I need to write in Across the Pond Book 3. I am up to chapter 4, and I'm almost done with chapter 4. I will finish chapter 4 today, so I am cranking through Across the Pond, which I'm really happy about. Again, it's just how I've outlined it. Having such a detailed outline has given me such a jump start on this project and is making the writing so much easier. And yeah, I'm already almost done with chapter 4 and I have just over 37,000 words total in the project so far. So I am more than a third of the way through. Looks like I'm about a little over a third of the way through. So that's awesome. And then the Royal Romance project, pull that one up. I'm still outlining. I've currently got just over 4,500 words written in that project. I need to do 926 today, and it looks like I still have 4 chapters that don't have anything written in them. So I'll probably spend part of that word count today trying to at least get one sentence written in each of those chapters so that I have at least my kind of really, really rough skeleton outline per chapter. And yeah, this one is a little bit more difficult because normally I write third person past tense and it's just kind of an omnipresent, is that the right word, narrator that kind of head hops between all of the different characters, primarily from the perspective of the main character, but I'll occasionally kind of give things from the perspective of other characters, and that's just kind of the way I've always written my stories. This one, specifically because of this particular genre of royal romance, I've noticed that there's a little bit more of a consistent and strategic jumping from the main female character to the main male character, and it'll either alternate chapters or it'll alternate scene breaks. So it'll be kind of from the female's perspective and then there'll be a scene break and then it'll be from the male's perspective, and it's a little bit more even, more balanced of whose general perspective you're getting. So I'm trying that with this one because, again, a little like sneak peek here, this is why you watch the vlogs. The main male character in book 1 is going to be a prince, one of the princes of the fictional royal family that I'm creating, and then the main female character is going to be an American woman who is traveling to this fictional country for grad school. She's a PhD student. I wonder why I chose that. There's usually a little bit of me inserted into my main female characters. I won't lie. I want to have both perspectives kind of balanced throughout. It might end up still being slightly more of the main female character. I'm not used to writing kind of from within the head of a male character as much. So far in the outline, it's been fine, although I am having to make sure that I'm kind of outlining that balanced. Right now, it's kind of looking like within each chapter, it'll be both characters, but there will just be scene breaks where it kind of very clearly shifts from one character's perspective to the other. And it might go back and forth once or twice, like a couple times. Like it might start with the prince, switch to the girl, and then switch back to the prince, or vice versa. But I'm trying to keep it more like first half is one of them, second half is the other one of them, and then it might stay with, so it might start with the prince, switch to the girl, start of the next chapters with the girl, and then switches back to the prince. I'm trying not to jump too many times, and that's going to be something I'll have to kind of have the beta readers for this one pay attention to when it gets to that stage. That's kind of the update on that. So I think I'm going to start with editing and get that checked off, then see what time it is, maybe do 30 minutes of proofreading in More Than Fate. I can only do it for short bits at a time, so I might do 30 minutes, do some writing, do 30 more minutes, do some outlining, something like that. Other than that, I'm just kind of counting down until 5 p.m. when I get to call or go online and check the status of my jury duty. I can't believe it's already April. I feel like I got this. I don't know if there's a postmark on. There's no postmark on it. I don't know when it was, like, I mentioned it in the vlog, but I want to say it was back in like February that I got my summons for federal jury service. And it was just like, you know what? I've got enough I'm worrying about in February. I'm not going to think about this. I put it on my calendar. I hadn't had my vaccine yet. Like, I just thought, you know, things are still as they were back then. Like, I'm sure the trials are going to continue to be postponed. I did look online, and I guess federal jury trials resumed in March. And as of yesterday, I've reached full, like, efficiency, effectiveness of the vaccine. So it's more than 2 weeks past my date. So tonight is when I am able to log on and check the status. Next week is when I am on call. So I'm going to focus on book stuff and just get some work done between now and 5 o'clock, which is in about an hour and a half. I will check with you guys in a little while. Okay, it's 6:37. I really need to stop. I've more than met my goal in Across the Pond. I've done 1,123 words, so I did a little over 100 extra words, so very happy about that. But I still need to do outlining. I need to do more proofreading. I'm only up through chapter 3. I knew this weekend was going to be busy with proofreading. I can only do it in so many stretches, like so long at a time. I've got 24 minutes, according to my Kindle, left in the Once and Future Witches, so I am going to finish that book tonight. But I want to then read this one. This is going to be the book of the weekend, I think. I really want to read this. I bought it. I've had it for like almost 2 weeks now. I just had these library books that I needed to read more. So I cannot get over how beautiful this cover is. So I am really, 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 really looking forward to reading this over the weekend. My plan is to finish Once and Future Witches tonight and possibly start reading this tonight and then just read this tomorrow and see how far I can get. It doesn't look like it's that long compared to some of the other print books I've read, and compared to, yeah, it's like less than 300 pages. 301. Anyway, update on jury service. I'm in the clear. Got excused. I logged in online and I stared at the screen rereading the message like 5 million times, and then took a screenshot and then sent it in the family chat. I was like, am I reading this right? I just want to make sure. But it was pretty clear. There is no jury service scheduled for the week of April 12th through 16th. Your jury service term is ended. You are no longer required to report or check for further instructions. Like, I think I'm reading that correctly now. But when I first checked, I was like, am I reading this right? So yeah, so I'm in the clear. I don't have to worry about it. And I think it's like at least 6 months, if not a year, before they can summon me again. So I'm good for now. And now I feel like I can just enjoy the rest of my weekend and not have that hanging over my head. So that's nice. Oh, the sky looks so pretty out the window right now. Just a little bit of clouds. Last little bit of the sun on the building there. So pretty. Now I am just going to close up shop over here. I managed to do a lot of words yesterday. So I brought my word count down in Royal Romance by about 10 words. So much, right? We'll see if I get any bookwork done tonight. I'm going to watch NewsHour, and then I'm going to put something else on TV. I'm going to unplug. I'm going to turn off, close up the laptop, and go get dinner. I've got leftover pasta salad, so that's good. Don't have to cook anything. So yeah, I'm just going to go relax and enjoy my evening. And I will check with you guys sometime tomorrow. Hi, it's Saturday, and I'm very happy about that. I have needed a Saturday all week long. And I feel like now that I know I don't have to be on call for jury duty, it's just like this cloud of uncertainty is lifted and I can just enjoy my Saturday. I did do my outlining last night at the very last minute. I didn't get started until like 11:15, but I got it done, and I did some more proofreading for More Than Fate. So I did do some book work. I was up way too late because then I had to finish the Once and Future Witches. I was determined to finish that last night so that today, it's not this morning anymore. Yeah, it's 12:07. It's not this morning anymore. I want to read that book, or at least make a big push in that book today. I read the first chapter last night, and it does sound interesting. So, but I did want to give you the update on Once and Future Witches. This was the thing about that book. First of all, it's really long. It's like 500 pages. And I have a lot of thoughts about it. I could do a whole video just on that book. And it's the first book in a long time that I feel like I could like designate a whole book talk video to. I think it's a great book for a book club because there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of ground. The author is Alex E. Harrow, and I've previously read her 10,000 Doors of January, which I kind of had mixed feelings about. The long story short review, I gave it 5 stars. Overall, it was really good. It was really well done. If this is your genre, it's worth reading. If you like kind of supernatural witch type stories, it's really good. It's also about sisters. But like if you tend to read more women's fiction or contemporary fiction, and like you like books about sisters and family dynamics, but you don't like books about witches, like don't read it, because it's primarily about the witching aspects of it. That's the long story short. If this is your kind of genre, I gave it 5 stars. It's worth reading. It's really beautifully written. It takes a little bit of time to get pulled into the narrative, but then once you're in, and the rest of the book goes by. It's not one you can really skim that much because the language is so beautiful, the way that she writes it. Like, you do want to read every word, and so it does take you a little bit longer, which is a nice trick if you can manage it as an author. Make them read every word and not want to skim your book. So yeah, there's that. The slightly more detailed review. I had to try really hard to turn off my brain as a writer and just read it as a reader. Because obviously it's her book, she can write it however she wants. But there were some things where, as a reader, with a knowledge of women's history in America, with a knowledge of feminist history in America, as well as kind of around the world, or at least around Europe, between the UK, the US, and Europe. Feminist scholarship was like a big portion of my PhD. So like I have more than the average knowledge of some of the historical stuff that she was dealing with. And so from the perspective of a reader with that kind of historical knowledge, there were some bits that I just felt like it got a little bit clunky. It got a little bit disconnected, where there's this beautiful story about the sisters and the witch kind of plot line. That felt disconnected from the history that she was trying to connect it to. From my knowledge, and I don't know specifically, I know that suffragettes were accused of a lot of things. To my knowledge, I don't remember witchcraft being one of them, and I don't remember the suffrage movement reigniting witch trials in Salem, which is kind of what the author is kind of proposing here. So it felt like an alternate version of history, but that's not made clear to the reader that it's an alternate version of history. It almost didn't feel like it needed to be set in the time period she set it in. The suffrage connection felt like it got dropped pretty quickly. We're probably getting into some spoilers here. I'm trying to keep it as spoiler free. It does get dropped within the first few chapters, I feel like. It's on the back of the book, and it makes it sound like that's going to be a much bigger part, and it's kind of not. It felt like what the book was more was a statement on very contemporary issues surrounding race, class, gender, which is great. I love that. But by trying to connect it to the events of the late 1890s and that part of the suffrage movement, for me as a reader with that historical knowledge, it wasn't as successful at that. And I don't think it needed to have that in order to make the statement that she was trying to make. It felt like it was holding the story she was trying to tell. It felt like that was holding her back. Because I feel like much in the way that Arthur Miller's The Crucible is set in Salem during the witch trials, but was actually an indictment against McCarthyism happening in the 1950s. I think that this could have been set in an alternate universe or in a historical time period, more historical than 1893, but still been the statement on these very contemporary issues. And I think the reader would have still got that. So yeah, there were just some things where, as a reader, I still really enjoyed it, but because of the historical knowledge I do have, because of my PhD, there were some things that just kind of fell a little flat for me and didn't work as successfully. But for the average reader, they probably wouldn't notice half the things that were standing out to me. So, and they're not things that ruined the book for me in any way. So I think overall, it was really well done. The language, the way that she writes it is beautiful. There's some really beautiful description. I think some of the descriptive language held her back in some of the faster paced action scenes. This is the final thing I'll say. I'll try to make it the final thing I say. One of the biggest things I noticed as a reader was, I think this would make an exceptional film because of her descriptive language and because she does a really great job of making this world really come to life and you see the scenes in very vivid detail. The tricky thing of that is it felt like some scenes, the pacing got slowed down. It almost felt like you were watching it in slow motion because she's describing all of these different things that are all essentially happening at the same time. And in film, you could do really quick cuts back and forth to all of these different characters to catch all of these moments. And there'd be like scenes where it felt like it was taking me several pages to read through the scene. But I know that in film, it would be like 30 seconds. When books are really long like that, and when sometimes the pacing feels like it gets a little bit slowed down in what are essentially real high intensity action scenes, it always makes me think this might be better in a different medium than books. Still was great in book form though. So, and my battery died, which is the ultimate sign of, Andrea, you need to stop talking and go get your coffee and go start reading again. Overall, good book. If it's on your list, it's worth reading. For now, I'm gonna go get some coffee because I need some coffee. Okay, it's Sunday. I had a very, very lazy morning this morning. So yeah, woke up finally, got some breakfast, got some coffee, and came out here to read. So last night I finished The Lost Apothecary right before dinner time. I just read all day. That's all I did yesterday was read that book. And it was so good. It was so good. I won't say that I loved it as much as The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. And I kind of thought that I think if you liked Addie LaRue, you will like The Lost Apothecary. It's kind of in that vein. I liked the story. It's 3 different points of view between 2 different time periods. So 2 characters in the one time period and 1 character in the other. Brilliantly paced. Great plot development. Each chapter is a character, different point of view, so it bounces between those 3 POVs. But each chapter is fairly short, they're not super long, and so I feel like that really helped with the pacing. Also, each one kind of ends with you wanting to know what happens next for that character, and so when you it propels you forward through the narrative really, really, really well. So I really appreciated that. I don't want to say too much about the story because I don't want to give anything away. But yeah, I thought it was really well done. I really liked it. Really liked it. So if it's on your list or if it's one that you've been kind of curious about, I would recommend it. So after that finished, I then read Spelling the Tea by Erin Johnson. It's a paranormal cozy mystery, which I love paranormal cozy mysteries. That's what my favorite Vampire Knitting Club series is. And the Vampire Book Club as well. They're all paranormal cozy mysteries. They call them paranormal. For some reason, I've always thought paranormal refers to ghosts and spirits, and supernatural refers to witches and vampires. This is witches and vampires. But I've noticed in the self-publishing world, stories with witches and vampires tend to get called paranormal. You know, I'm not gonna argue if that's what the kind of industry standard has become. That's just never how I've thought about it. I'd love for you guys to let me know, like, do you see a difference between paranormal and supernatural? But Spelling the Tea was really cute. This one's set in Bath, which I do like. If you like just a classic paranormal cozy mystery, I did enjoy the book, and I will read the second book, I think. I read it in like 2 hours. Overall, I really enjoyed it, and if you like that genre, I would recommend it. Now I'm reading, totally switching gears, and now I'm reading Lingerie on the Floor, which is a bad boy billionaire romance by Amanda Askel, who I follow on Instagram. I've been following her since I started publishing my books and started following other independent authors. And she follows me, and we've chatted a few times. She's really, really nice. And I've been wanting to read one of her books for a while. So I downloaded this one a couple weeks ago, and now I'm reading it. And it's a contemporary romance. I think it's going to be pretty steamy, just judging by the cover. Can't judge a book by its cover, but judging by the cover, I think it's good. And by the first chapter, I think it's going to be pretty steamy. But for now, I have some work I need to do. I need to do some proofreading. I'm going to do that right now. For the next 2.5 hours, I'm going to do some work, and then I'll spend the last hour or so before dinner going back to reading, and I will check with you guys later. Okay, it is after 6:30. It's gotten very cloudy tonight, but I kind of like it. I got 4 chapters total. Yeah. Or did I do one? I think I did 5 today. I did 1 earlier today, and then 4 in a row. It looks like I'm about halfway through this proofread, so that's good. By the time I was done with that, I was ready to just relax. So I went back over to my armchair and got my Kindle back out, and I've just been doing some reading. I've got an hour and a half left in that book. It's pretty good so far. I'm enjoying it. It's just a fun, fast-paced, steamy romance. Good bit of kind of just brain candy. I'm tired. I'm not entirely ready for the day tomorrow. I'm sure tomorrow will be fine, and I'll, be happy it's Monday and, just get on with it. But there's always something about Sunday nights. It's just like, oh, the weekend's over. But before we go, it's time for our Hygge question. Okay, all these questions are pretty good. We'll go with the top one for today. Do you still print out the pictures you take and frame them, or put them in albums? Not as much as I would like. I just can never be bothered then to do it. I'd love to do albums, but my other thing is like, as much as I'd love to do albums, or I think what I would probably be more likely to do is make a photo book, I just never get around to it. And then with having them printed out, then it's that feeling of, it's just one more thing I have to find a place to put somewhere. But what about you? Do you print out photos and put them in albums or frame them, or do you, like me, have endless numbers of pictures on your camera roll that you don't do anything with? I'd love to know. If you've enjoyed this vlog, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed, all of that good stuff. I would really appreciate that. Say hi in the comments, let me know how you're doing, and yeah, I'll see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye!